a land where continents meet, where the whispers of ancient civilizations linger in every stone, and where landscapes shift from sun-kissed beaches to misty mountains, from vast plateaus to surreal valleys. Welcome to Turkey, a country where history is not behind glass, but alive in bustling streets, sacred temples, and quiet villages. Here, every step reveals a story, every view feels like a painting, and every encounter immerses you in a culture that has endured for millennia. From Istanbul's iconic skyline to Cappadocia's floating balloons, from the turquoise seas of the Mediterranean to the rugged peaks of the East, Turkey promises a journey that will awaken your senses, stir your imagination, and leave you breathless. Prepare to witness a land where time flows differently, where past and present converse, and where every horizon holds the promise of wonder. Before you ever set foot on this land, Turkey has already touched you. In the echoes of history, in the patterns of art, in the flavors that traveled continents, and in the stories that shaped the modern world. This is not just a country you visit, it is a place you feel. A land where the past does not sleep, where every stone has a memory, and where two continents meet, not only in geography, but in spirit. Turkey stands at the crossroads of civilization. Europe stretches from one side, Asia from the other, and between them lies a nation that has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, prophets and kings, traders, conquerors. Long before borders were drawn, this land was already alive, a stage where humanity learned how to build cities, write laws, worship gods, and dream beyond the horizon. From the very beginning, Turkey's story is one of connection. Ancient trade routes crossed its plains, carrying silk, spices, ideas, and beliefs. Armies marched across its valleys, leaving behind ruins that still whisper their names. Greeks, Romans, Byzantines, Seljuks, and Ottomans, each carved their identity into the land, layering history upon history like pages in an endless book. Look closer, and you realize Turkey is not defined by one era. It is a living museum. Ancient temples rise beside modern streets. Call to prayer floats over cities, buzzing with contemporary life. In one moment, you stand among ruins thousands of years old. In the next, you sip tea in a cafe filled with laughter and warmth. Here, time does not move in a straight line. It overlaps. It coexists. Geographically, Turkey is a world of contrasts. Snow-capped mountains tower above fertile valleys. Vast plateaus stretch toward endless skies. Turquoise seas embrace dramatic coastlines carved by wind and waves. Deserts meet forests. Ancient villages meet global cities. Few places on Earth offer such diversity within a single horizon. But Turkey's true power is not only in what you see, it's in how it welcomes you. Hospitality here is not a gesture. It is a tradition passed down through generations. A shared meal becomes conversation. A cup of tea becomes an invitation. Strangers become friends without effort or expectation. In Turkey, you are never just a visitor, you are a guest. Every journey through this land feels personal. Walk its streets, and you sense stories beneath your feet. Stand on its hills, and you feel the weight of centuries carried by the wind. Listen carefully, and the land speaks through the call of prayer at dusk, through market voices, through silence in ancient places where time itself seems to pause. This is where East meets West, not in conflict, but in harmony, where cultures blend rather than collide, where tradition and progress walk side by side. Turkey teaches you that identity does not need to be singular. It can be rich, layered, and beautifully complex. As this journey begins, you are not simply traveling across a map. You are stepping into a narrative written over thousands of years, a story of resilience, beauty, faith, and humanity. From legendary cities to hidden wonders, from ancient mysteries to modern life, Turkey invites you to see the world differently. The moment Istanbul appears before you, it feels impossible to understand where the city ends and where history begins. This is not just a skyline, it is a living timeline, rising from the waters of the Bosphorus, shaped by empires, faiths, and centuries of human ambition. Here, Europe and Asia face each other across a narrow strait, connected not only by bridges, but by stories that have traveled across time. Istanbul has worn many names: Byzantium, Constantinople, and each name marked a new chapter of power and transformation. Once the heart of the Roman Empire, then the crown jewel of Byzantium, and later the capital of the mighty Ottoman Empire, this city has ruled worlds. Few places on earth have carried such influence, such beauty, and such weight of history within their walls. Standing before Hagia Sophia, you feel it immediately. This is not simply a building, it is a symbol of endurance. Its vast dome seems to float effortlessly, defying gravity and centuries alike. Once a church, then a mosque, then a museum, and again a mosque, Hagia Sophia reflects Istanbul itself, layered, complex, and deeply spiritual. Light filters through its windows, touching mosaics and stone, reminding you that faith here has never belonged to just one era. Just across the square, the Blue Mosque answers in harmony. Its elegant domes and towering minarets rise with quiet confidence, welcoming worshippers and visitors alike. Inside, thousands of hand-painted tiles glow softly, wrapping the space in serenity. When the call to prayer echoes through the city, Istanbul seems to pause, as if listening to its own heartbeat. Wander deeper into the city, and Istanbul reveals its everyday soul. In the Grand Bazaar, one of the oldest covered markets in the world, colors, voices, and aromas swirl together. Gold glimmers under lantern light. Carpets tell stories through patterns. Spices perfume the air. Every corner invites conversation, bargaining, laughter, a tradition unchanged for centuries. Along the Bosphorus, the city breathes differently. Ferries glide across the water, carrying commuters, travelers, and dreamers between continents in minutes. Palaces line the shores, reminders of Ottoman sultans who ruled from these waters. Seagulls cry overhead as tea glasses clink softly on ferry decks. Few cities make daily life feel this poetic. Yet Istanbul is not trapped in the past. Modern neighborhoods pulse with creativity, fashion, and music. Cafes fill with young voices, artists, and thinkers shaping the city's future. Ancient walls stand beside contemporary streets, proving that Istanbul does not choose between old and new, it embraces both. As night falls, the city transforms again. Lights shimmer on the water. Minarets glow against the dark sky. The Bosphorus becomes a ribbon of reflections connecting two continents under the same stars. From rooftops and quiet streets, Istanbul feels endless, eternal. This city does not ask to be understood quickly. It invites you to slow down, to listen, to feel. Istanbul is not a destination you check off. It is a place that stays with you long after you leave. Here, history is not behind glass. It walks beside you, speaks to you, and reminds you that the world has always been connected long before we ever named it so. Before the sun rises, silence blankets the land, and then, slowly, the sky comes alive. Colors spill across the horizon as hundreds of hot air balloons lift gently into the morning air. Below them lies a landscape that feels unreal, carved not by human hands, but by time itself. This is Cappadocia, a place that looks like another planet, yet holds some of humanity's most intimate stories beneath its stone. Cappadocia's terrain is the result of ancient volcanic eruptions, where layers of ash hardened into soft rock and were sculpted over millions of years by wind and rain. The result is a dreamlike world of fairy chimneys, towering cones, and rippling valleys that glow in shades of gold, rose, and ash gray. Every turn of the road reveals shapes that feel imagined rather than real. But Cappadocia's wonder does not stop at what you see on the surface. Beneath this surreal landscape lies a hidden world. Early civilizations carved homes, churches, and entire cities directly into the rock. Underground cities descend multiple levels below the earth, complete with living spaces, kitchens, ventilation shafts, and hidden passages. These were places of refuge where communities survived invasions, protected their faith, and lived in complete secrecy. Step inside a rock-cut church, and the walls begin to speak. Faded frescoes still cling to stone, telling biblical stories painted by candlelight centuries ago. The silence here is different, thick, reverent, and deeply moving. You can almost feel the presence of those who once prayed, lived, and dreamed within these walls. Above ground, valleys stretch endlessly, each with its own character. Rose Valley glows softly at sunset. Love Valley's towering formations rise dramatically against the sky. Pigeon Valley tells the story of humans and nature working together, where birds once played a vital role in agriculture. Walking these paths feels like wandering through a living sculpture gallery shaped by the earth itself. At dawn, Cappadocia reaches its most magical moment. As balloons rise, the light transforms the stone into waves of color. The silence is broken only by the gentle sound of burners and the distant awe of travelers witnessing something unforgettable. Floating above this ancient land feels like drifting through time-past villages, valleys, and stories etched into the ground. Yet Cappadocia is not frozen in history. Villages like Gureme and Urgup are alive with warmth and hospitality. Cave hotels blend seamlessly into the rock, offering comfort while preserving tradition. Evenings are filled with shared meals, quiet conversations, and skies overflowing with stars. Here, modern life adapts respectfully to ancient surroundings. What makes Cappadocia truly special is its balance between fragility and endurance, between human survival and natural wonder. This land taught people how to live with the earth, not against it. Instead of conquering stone, they shaped their lives within it. As you leave Cappadocia, it stays with you, not just as a place you visited, but as a feeling, one of humility, awe, and quiet inspiration. It reminds you that the world still holds landscapes, capable of changing how you see reality. In Cappadocia, imagination and history merge, and for a moment, you realize that Earth itself can still feel like a miracle. As the land slopes gently toward the sea, the air changes. Pine forests give way to olive groves, and the deep blue of the Mediterranean stretches endlessly toward the horizon. This is Turkey's Turquoise coast, a place where mountains meet the sea, and ancient history rests quietly beneath crystal-clear waters. For thousands of years, this coastline has drawn sailors, traders, and dreamers. Known in ancient times as Lycia and Caria, these shores once supported powerful civilizations whose cities now lie scattered across cliffs, forests, and islands. Their ruins remain, not as forgotten relics, but as silent companions to the rhythm of the waves. Along this coast, towns like Fethiye and Kaş feel both timeless and alive. Whitewashed houses cling to hillsides, overlooking harbors filled with gently swaying boats. Narrow streets wind through cafes and markets where conversations flow as easily as the sea breeze. Life here moves at a different pace, slower, warmer, more connected to nature. Just offshore, the Mediterranean reveals another world. Sunken ruins lie beneath the surface, remnants of earthquakes and ancient ports reclaimed by the sea. In places like Kekova, stone walls and stairways can be seen through clear water, blurring the line between land and ocean. Boats drift silently above history, offering a rare glimpse into a city frozen in time. Above the coast, ancient Lycian tombs are carved directly into cliff faces, watching over the sea as they have for centuries. These tombs tell stories of a people who believed the dead should rest closer to the sky, carried upward by winged creatures. Standing beneath them, you feel the deep connection between belief, landscape, and legacy. The beaches along the Turquoise coast feel almost unreal. Ölüdeniz, with its calm lagoon and vibrant blue waters, appears like a painting brought to life. Paragliders drift overhead, tracing slow arcs against the sky as the mountains fall dramatically into the sea below. The water is so clear that boats seem to float in midair, suspended above shifting patterns of light and sand. Beyond the beaches, the coast holds hidden valleys and quiet coves accessible only by foot or boat. Here, nature feels untouched. The sound of waves replaces all else. The scent of salt and pine fills the air. Time becomes irrelevant. These moments remind you that true luxury is often found in simplicity. As evening approaches, the coast softens. The sun sinks behind the mountains, setting the sea ablaze with gold and crimson. Fishing boats return to harbor. Lights flicker on in hillside homes. Dinners stretch long into the night, filled with fresh seafood, laughter, and shared stories under open skies. What makes the Turquoise coast unforgettable is its harmony. History does not dominate the land it blends into it. Nature is not controlled, it is respected. Life flows gently between the two. This coast teaches you that beauty does not need to shout. Sometimes, it simply waits, shimmering quietly, for those willing to slow down and listen. Here, between mountains and sea, Turkey reveals a softer side, one shaped by water, wind, and centuries of human presence. The Turquoise coast is not just a destination. It is a feeling of peace, balance, and timeless connection to the natural world. Rising from the heart of Western Anatolia, there is a place where water and stone come together in a way that feels almost mythical. From a distance, it looks like a frozen waterfall spilling down a mountainside, glowing white under the sun. This is Pamukkale, a natural wonder shaped slowly, patiently by time. For thousands of years, mineral-rich thermal waters have flowed down these slopes, leaving behind layers of pure white travertine. Pool after pool cascades gently over the hillside, creating terraces filled with warm, turquoise water. Walking barefoot along these formations feels surreal, as if stepping onto clouds shaped by nature itself. Pamukkale's beauty has drawn people since ancient times. The Romans recognized its healing powers and built the city of Hierapolis directly above the terraces. Today, ruins of temples, baths, and streets still stand, offering a glimpse into a world where wellness and spirituality were deeply connected. This was not just a place of beauty, it was a place of renewal. At the top of the terraces, the ancient city opens wide. Stone columns stretch toward the sky. The remains of a vast theater overlook the valley below, once filled with voices, performances, and celebration. Walking these streets, you sense the presence of those who came seeking healing, rest, and meaning just as travelers do today. One of the most remarkable experiences here lies hidden beneath the surface. Cleopatra's Pool, formed by an ancient earthquake, is filled with warm, mineral-rich water and scattered marble columns. Swimming among these fallen ruins feels like floating through history, where time dissolves into sensation and calm. As the sun shifts throughout the day, Pamukkale transforms. Morning light softens the terraces into shades of pale blue and silver. By afternoon, the white stone glows intensely, reflecting the sky above. At sunset, the pools capture the colors of the fading day, turning gold and rose before slowly cooling into evening. Yet what makes Pamukkale truly powerful is not only its appearance, it is the stillness it creates. Voices lower naturally, movements slow. People pause, breathe, and observe. The landscape itself seems to ask for reflection, reminding you of the quiet forces that shape our world. Nearby, cotton fields and fertile plains stretch into the distance, showing how this region has supported life for centuries. Nature and civilization have always coexisted here, each influencing the other. The water that created these terraces also nourished crops, communities, and traditions that continue today. Pamukkale is a reminder that some of the world's most extraordinary places are built drop by drop, moment by moment. It teaches patience, balance, and respect for natural processes that cannot be rushed or controlled. As you leave, the image stays with you: white stone against blue sky, warm water flowing endlessly. Pamukkale is not loud or dramatic. Its magic lies in its quiet persistence, a place where nature heals, history listens, and beauty flows without end. Long before modern cities rose and fell, before borders were drawn and redrawn, there was a city where the ancient world gathered to trade, to worship, and to imagine the future. As you step onto its marble streets, the past does not feel distant, it feels awake. This is Ephesus, one of the greatest cities of the ancient world, and one of Turkey's most powerful reminders of humanity's shared origins. Ephesus was once a thriving metropolis, home to hundreds of thousands of people and a central hub of culture, commerce, and belief. Merchants arrived from distant lands, philosophers debated ideas that would shape civilizations, and pilgrims traveled great distances to honor gods whose names echoed across empires. Today, its ruins stand exposed beneath the open sky, but their presence is anything but silent. Walking along the Cuisine street, smooth marble stones stretch ahead, worn by centuries of footsteps. On either side, columns rise in graceful lines, hinting at the grandeur that once surrounded daily life. This was not a city reserved for elites alone. It was alive with markets, baths, fountains, and homes, built for a society deeply connected to public life. Then, suddenly, you stand before the Library of Celsus. Its facade rises with breathtaking elegance, reconstructed with care and reverence. Once housing thousands of scrolls, this library was more than a place of knowledge. It was a symbol of intellect and power. As sunlight washes over its columns, you can almost imagine scholars gathering here, preserving ideas meant to outlive empires. Nearby, the great theater opens wide, carved into the hillside and capable of seating tens of thousands. Here, performances entertained crowds, political messages were delivered, and history unfolded in public view. It is said that voices could carry effortlessly from the stage to the highest seats, proof of the advanced engineering that defined this civilization. Standing at its center, the scale is humbling, a reminder of how deeply humans have always craved connection and expression. Ephesus was also a spiritual center. It was home to the Temple of Artemis, once considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Though only fragments remain today, its legacy endures. This temple was not just a structure, it was a beacon of faith, artistry, and devotion, drawing worshippers from across the known world. Beyond monuments, Ephesus reveals intimate details of daily life. Mosaic floors, carved doorways, and even ancient graffiti remain visible. Public toilets, bathhouses, and private residences show a society remarkably advanced in urban planning and social structure. These details bring humanity back into the ruins, reminding us that this was once a city filled with laughter, ambition, and ordinary moments. As the day unfolds, light and shadow move gently across stone. Columns glow in the afternoon sun. Birds echo through the ruins. Time seems to slow, allowing space for reflection. Ephesus does not overwhelm with chaos, it invites quiet respect. What makes this place unforgettable is not only its scale, but its survival. Earthquakes, Invasions and shifting coastlines eventually silenced the city, yet its story endured beneath layers of soil until it was rediscovered and revealed once more. Ephesus reminds us that even when cities fall, their ideas remain. Leaving Ephesus feels like stepping out of a living memory. You carry with you the understanding that modern civilization did not appear overnight. It was built, stone by stone, thought by people who believed their world mattered. And in places like Ephesus, you realize they were right. High above the plains of southeastern Anatolia, where the wind moves freely and the sky feels endless, there is a mountain crowned with silence and stone. At first glance, it seems remote, almost forgotten. But as you climb higher, you realize this is not a place meant to be hidden. This is Mount Nemrut, one of the most mysterious and awe-inspiring sights in Turkey, built not for the living, but for eternity. Over 2,000 years ago, King Antiochus I of the ancient kingdom of Cuisine chose this summit to declare his legacy. He believed himself equal to the gods, and here, at over 2,000 meters above sea level, he created a monumental sanctuary where heaven and earth would meet. What remains today is unlike anything else in the world. At the summit, colossal stone heads lie scattered across the ground, faces of gods, eagles, lions, and the king himself. Each one weighs several tons, yet their expressions are calm, distant, almost timeless. Once seated on massive thrones, these statues were meant to watch the sun rise and set forever, bearing witness to the passing of centuries. Earthquakes eventually toppled them, but their presence remains powerful, even humbling. As dawn approaches, the mountain holds its breath. Travelers gather quietly, wrapped in silence and anticipation. Then, slowly, the sun rises above the horizon, washing the stone faces in warm gold and soft crimson. Shadows stretch across the terrace. For a moment, time dissolves. You are no longer in the modern world. You are standing inside an ancient vision of immortality. The same magic returns at sunset. As the sky deepens into shades of orange and violet, the statues glow once more, their worn features illuminated against the vastness of the landscape. There is no sound but the wind, no distraction but the sky. It is impossible not to reflect on human ambition, belief, and the desire to be remembered. Mount Nemrut is not about comfort or convenience. The climb is challenging, the air thin, the weather unpredictable. But that struggle is part of the experience. This place was never meant to be easy to reach. It was designed to separate the ordinary from the sacred, the temporary from the eternal. Beyond the summit, the surrounding landscape stretches endlessly rolling hills, distant villages, and ancient lands that once connected empires. This region has seen countless civilizations pass through, each leaving traces of their dreams and fears. Yet none dared to leave a message quite as bold as this one. What makes Mount Nemrut unforgettable is not just its scale, but its intention. It is a monument to belief in legacy, in divine connection, and in the power of memory. Standing among these fallen gods, you feel both small and deeply connected to the long story of humanity. As you descend the mountain, the images stay with you, stone faces against the sky, light touching ancient dreams. Mount Nemrut does not demand attention. It waits patiently, reminding those who arrive that even kings fade, but the desire to be remembered is eternal. As the road bends north and the air grows cooler, Turkey reveals a completely different face. The dry tones of the south fade away, replaced by deep greens, misty hills, and rain-kissed forests that seem to breathe with life. This is the Black Sea region, a land where mountains rise straight from the coast, where clouds drift low enough to touch, and where nature feels untamed and endlessly alive. Here, the rhythm of life follows the rain. Tea plantations carpet the hills in perfect green waves, stretching as far as the eye can see. Farmers move gently through the fields, their work shaped by generations of tradition. The scent of wet earth and fresh leaves fills the air, grounding you in a place where modern life never fully replaced the old ways. Hidden among these mountains is one of Turkey's most breathtaking spiritual sites, the Sumela Monastery. Clinging dramatically to a sheer cliff face, the monastery appears almost impossible, as if carved directly from the mountain by faith alone. Reaching it requires a quiet walk through dense forest, where waterfalls echo and sunlight filters softly through towering trees. As the monastery comes into view, suspended above a deep valley, the sense of awe is immediate. Built over 1600 years ago, Sumela was once a place of devotion, isolation, and survival. Its walls are decorated with fading frescoes that tell sacred stories, painted high above the ground, where monks once lived in solitude, protected by both height and belief. Standing on its stone pathways, you feel the power of location. Clouds drift past at eye level. The valley below disappears into mist. Silence wraps around you, broken only by the distant sound of water and wind. This was not a place chosen for comfort, it was chosen for closeness to the divine. Beyond the monastery, the Black Sea coast stretches endlessly. Towns like Trabzon blend history and daily life with quiet confidence. Markets buzz with local voices. Fishing boats sway in small harbors. The sea itself is darker, moodier than the Mediterranean, reflecting skies that change by the hour. Food here tells its own story. Fresh bread, rich cheeses, anchovies, and steaming tea shared without hurry. Meals are moments of connection, not interruption. Hospitality feels instinctive, offered without expectation. In the Black Sea region, warmth comes not from the sun but from the people. What makes this region unforgettable is its raw honesty. The mountains are steep, the weather unpredictable, the roads winding. Yet within that challenge lies beauty untouched by excess. Life here has adapted to nature, not the other way around. As mist settles over the hills and the day fades into soft gray light, the Black Sea region feels almost dreamlike. It is quieter than the famous cities, less polished than the resorts, but deeply moving. It reminds you that Turkey is not one landscape, one culture, or one story. Here, among forests and clouds, faith and tradition, you discover a side of the country that feels ancient, alive, and profoundly human. The Black Sea does not demand attention, it earns it, slowly, through moments that stay with you long after the journey continues. Far to the east, where the land opens wide and the sky feels closer to the earth, Turkey reveals one of its most powerful and least expected landscapes. This is Eastern Anatolia, a region shaped by extremes, where nature feels vast, history feels ancient, and silence carries meaning. At its heart lies Lake Van, a body of water so large and luminous it feels more like a sea than a lake. Lake Van stretches endlessly across the high plateau, its deep blue surface shimmering under a sky that seems infinite. Surrounded by rugged mountains and volcanic terrain, the lake holds a quiet authority. Its waters are alkaline, unlike any other in the region, giving them a clarity and color that shift with the light turquoise in the morning, deep sapphire by afternoon, silver at dusk. Along its shores, life unfolds slowly. Small villages dot the landscape, where stone houses stand firm against harsh winters and strong winds. Here, traditions remain deeply rooted. People greet one another with warmth shaped by resilience, and hospitality feels sincere, born from generations who learned to rely on one another in a demanding environment. Rising from the lake itself is Akdamar Island, home to one of Turkey's most remarkable architectural treasures. The Church of the Holy Cross stands quietly against the water, built over 1,000 years ago. Its stone walls are carved with detailed reliefs, scenes of faith, animals, and stories etched directly into history. Approaching the island by boat, The church appears timeless, perfectly placed between water and sky. Inside, the atmosphere is still and reverent. Light filters gently through small windows, illuminating worn stone that has witnessed centuries of prayer, change, and survival. This place tells a story not only of belief, but of coexistence, a reminder that Eastern Anatolia has long been a crossroads of cultures, languages, and traditions. Beyond the lake, the landscape grows more dramatic. Snow-capped peaks rise in the distance, even in warmer months. Ancient fortresses cling to hillsides, guarding routes once traveled by caravans and armies. The land here has always been strategic, contested, and deeply valued, not for comfort, but for connection. As evening approaches, the region transforms. The sun sinks low, casting long shadows across the plateau. The lake reflects the sky like a mirror, doubling the sense of space and calm. Sheep bells echo faintly across the land. Smoke curls upward from village homes, signaling the close of another day shaped by rhythm and tradition. What makes Eastern Anatolia unforgettable is its honesty. There is no excess here, no rush to impress. Beauty reveals itself slowly through light, scale, and stillness. This is a place that does not offer easy answers, but rewards patience and presence. Standing beside Lake Van, you feel a deep sense of grounding. The vastness reminds you how small individual moments are and how meaningful they can be. Eastern Anatolia is not a place you simply see. It is a place you absorb, one quiet breath at a time, carrying its silence and strength with you long after the journey continues. As your journey across Turkey draws to a close, it becomes clear that the country's true wonder is not only in its landscapes, ruins, or monuments, but in the very way life unfolds here. From bustling cities to quiet villages, from soaring mountains to endless seas, Turkey is a place where history, culture, and human connection are inseparable, creating an experience that lingers long after you leave. Every region of Turkey carries its own rhythm. In Istanbul, the streets pulse with energy, a place where continents meet, markets hum with trade, and history is etched into every stone. In Cappadocia, the silence of valleys and the gentle rise of hot air balloons evoke awe and wonder. Along the Turquoise coast, water and mountains come together in a harmony that feels almost eternal. In Eastern Anatolia, the wide open spaces and ancient shores of Lake Van speak of endurance, resilience, and the raw power of nature. But beyond the sights, it is the people who leave the deepest impression. Turkish hospitality is not an act. It is a culture woven into daily life. Sharing a cup of tea, exchanging a greeting, or joining in a family meal is an invitation into a way of living that honors generosity, connection, and respect. Travelers find themselves embraced not just as visitors, but as part of the story unfolding around them. Food tells its own story here, revealing centuries of history, trade, and adaptation. The aroma of freshly baked bread, the richness of spices, the layering of flavors in kebabs, mezes, and sweets. Each dish is a reflection of geography and heritage. Meals are not rushed. They are a ritual of life, inviting conversation, laughter, and reflection. In every bite, you taste the depth of Turkey's cultural tapestry. Faith and tradition continue to shape the land. Sometimes in visible ways, mosques with soaring minarets, churches tucked into ancient hills, sacred sites perched on mountainsides, and sometimes in subtle ones, in the rhythms of daily routines, the respect for ancestors, and the persistence of rituals passed down for generations. These are reminders that Turkey is a living history, a civilization that carries its past gracefully into the present. Turkey also teaches the traveler about contrasts and balance. Here, Ancient and modern exist side by side. Deserts and forests, mountains and seas, bustling streets and quiet villages coexist without conflict. This is a land that demonstrates the beauty of embracing differences, where diversity is not a barrier but a strength. As night falls, cities and towns light up, and the sound of life continues. Markets close, yet voices linger in the streets. Lights reflect off water, domes and minarets silhouette against the sky. Stars begin to appear over mountains, deserts, and seas, reminding visitors that while Turkey is a place to reflect, to pause, and to feel, in the end, Turkey is unforgettable because it cannot be contained in a single image or memory. It is a journey through time, culture, and emotion. It is the warmth of a stranger's welcome, the majesty of an ancient city, the tranquility of a hidden valley, and the vibrancy of life carried forward from generation to generation. Every corner, every landscape, every interaction contributes to a story far larger than any one traveler could experience, a story of humanity, endurance, beauty, and wonder. Leaving Turkey, you carry more than photographs or souvenirs. You carry an experience that reshapes perspective, deepens appreciation, and inspires curiosity. This is a country where every path leads to discovery, every city tells a story, and every horizon holds the promise of something extraordinary. Turkey does not simply exist on a map. It exists in the heart of those who take the time to journey through its lands, its culture, and its soul. It is a rhythm felt in the bustling streets of Istanbul, where fairy horns echo across the Bosphorus, blending with the call to prayer that rises over centuries-old mosques. It is heard in the quiet valleys of Cappadocia, where the only sounds are the whisper of the wind through fairy chimneys and the distant hum of hot air balloons drifting into the sky. This rhythm is Turkey itself, a pulse that connects past and present, nature and human endeavor, the ordinary and the extraordinary. In every corner of this vast land, history breathes. Ancient ruins, whether grand like Ephesus or subtle like hidden Lycian tombs along the Turquoise coast, are not merely remnants of the past. They are living lessons in endurance, creativity, and human ambition. Walking through these spaces, the visitor is struck by the ingenuity of civilizations long gone, their understanding of engineering, artistry, and spirituality, preserved in stone, water, and earth. Turkey's landscapes are an open book, waiting to be read slowly, page by page, terrace by terrace, temple by temple. Yet the story of Turkey is incomplete without its people. Across the country, hospitality is not ceremonial, it is instinctive. In small villages, tucked into the mountains of the Black Sea region, a stranger is welcomed with tea, conversation, and warmth that transcends language. In cities and towns alike, markets bustle with life, yet there is space for connection, for eye contact, for the unspoken understanding that guests are not merely visitors, but part of the ongoing narrative of the land. It is through these interactions that Turkey's soul becomes tangible, and its beauty extends beyond what the eye can see. Cultural diversity also plays a silent but powerful role in shaping the experience of this country. Each region possesses its own language, dialect, and tradition, yet all contribute to a shared identity. Music drifts from cafes and squares, sometimes modern, sometimes echoing centuries-old folk melodies. Crafts, from intricate carpets to hand-carved wooden ornaments, tell stories of lineage and creativity. Food, perhaps the most immediate connector, offers a sensory journey. The aroma of freshly baked bread, the richness of spices in a slow-cooked stew, the sweetness of desserts crafted with care. Every bite, every note, every pattern is a thread in the vast tapestry that is Turkey. Nature, too, plays an integral part in the final chapter of this journey. From the snow-capped peaks of Mount Ararat to the serene waters of Lake Van, from the golden travertines of Pamukkale to the endless turquoise of the Mediterranean, the landscapes of Turkey are as varied as they are breathtaking. Rivers carve valleys that have been home to civilizations for millennia. Forests whisper the secrets of ancient nomadic tribes. Deserts and plateaus speak of resilience, survival, and the beauty of isolation. Each environment shapes the people and cultures that inhabit it, reinforcing the symbiotic relationship between land and life. As day turns to night, Turkey's cities and towns do not merely sleep, they transform. Lanterns and streetlights cast reflections in calm waters. Minarets rise against the evening sky. Markets close, yet their energy lingers in the faint hum of distant conversations and the rhythmic steps of those still wandering. It is in these quiet, liminal moments that the heart of the country becomes most evident. A country aware of its past, confident in its present, and quietly embracing the future. Turkey's power lies in its ability to combine extremes. East and west, ancient and modern, mountain and sea, silence and celebration. Its landscapes and cities do not compete, they converse. Its people do not merely inhabit the land, they animate it. Its history is not static, it is lived, remembered, and reinterpreted every day. To journey through Turkey is to experience a place that refuses to be reduced to a single story, a single image, or a single emotion. As the sun sets over Turkey's horizon, casting golden and rose hues across its mountains, seas, and plains, one realizes that the country's greatest wonder is not found in a single landmark, a specific city, or even its spectacular landscapes. It is found in the connections, the subtle threads, weaving together history, culture, nature, and human life into a tapestry that is both intricate and enduring. Turkey does not reveal its full essence at first glance. It requires presence, patience, and openness. Only then does its beauty become fully tangible. In the east, the high plateaus and rugged mountains of Anatolia remind travelers of endurance and resilience. Villages here cling to hillsides. Centuries-old stone houses tell stories of generations, and winds carry the whispers of ancestors. Lake Van glows under the afternoon sun, reflecting not just the sky, but centuries of civilizations that have lived along its shores. Akdamar Island rises from the waters with its 1,000-year-old church, a silent sentinel of faith and artistry. This region teaches visitors that beauty can be austere, quiet, and infinitely deep, requiring the observer to slow down and truly see. Travel westward, and the landscapes transform into fertile valleys, bustling cities, and coasts kissed by turquoise waters. The Mediterranean and Aegean shores offer contrast to the highlands of the east: warmth, calm, and leisurely life harmonized with nature. Fethiye's harbors, Ölüdeniz's lagoon, and the ancient ruins of Patara or Xanthos speak of civilizations shaped by trade, culture, and the sea. Here, life feels lighter, more immediate. Yet history still underpins every cobblestone street, every stone column, and every sun-drenched terrace. Inland, Cappadocia continues to captivate with its ethereal beauty. Valleys sculpted by volcanic activity have become homes, churches, and cities carved into stone, reflecting human adaptability and ingenuity. Hot air balloons drift silently over fairy chimneys at dawn, painting the sky with color, while the land beneath whispers secrets of 1,000 years. These landscapes illustrate the harmony of human presence with the forces of nature, and the courage required to carve permanence into impermanence. Then, there is Istanbul, the heartbeat of Turkey, straddling continents and centuries. Here, East and West converse effortlessly across the Bosphorus, and empires echo in the streets, mosques, and palaces. Hagia Sophia's dome rises with grandeur, while the blue mosque's intricate interior invites reflection and wonder. Markets overflow with scents, colors, and voices, blending tradition with everyday life. The city reminds visitors that history is not static. It breathes, adapts, and continues to live in the present. Even the Black Sea region, with its steep mountains, dense forests, and rain-soaked valleys, presents another dimension of Turkey's richness. Sumela Monastery clings to cliffs in near-impossible locations, embodying devotion, solitude, and faith. Tea plantations carpet the hills, and rivers carve deep into the land, highlighting the enduring relationship between humans and nature. In these northern regions, the traveler discovers that beauty can be hidden, subtle, and yet profoundly moving when found. Throughout all these regions, it is the people who animate Turkey's landscapes. Hospitality is not performative, but instinctive. Sharing tea, bread, or a conversation is an invitation to become part of the story. Local customs, music, and cuisine carry centuries of cultural heritage, blending Persian, Byzantine, Ottoman, and Anatolian influences into a living, breathing mosaic. Each encounter deepens understanding, creating a connection far beyond sightseeing, one of empathy, respect, and shared humanity. As night falls across Turkey, a remarkable realization takes hold. The country's wonders are multidimensional. They exist in history, in nature, in architecture, and most importantly, in the human experience that binds these elements together. Mountains, seas, valleys, and cities are not separate. They converse, creating harmony across time and space. Turkey teaches that understanding a place requires seeing its contrasts, feeling its rhythms, and embracing its complexities. Leaving Turkey is never truly a departure. Its landscapes, sounds, and memories embed themselves in the traveler's consciousness. Every sunrise over a mountain, every sunset over the sea, every bustling market and silent ruin becomes a touchstone, a memory that returns repeatedly in reflection. Turkey does not simply exist geographically. It exists emotionally, historically, and spiritually, for those who take the time to experience it fully. In the final reckoning, Turkey's magic lies in its layering, past and present, east and west, mountains and seas, stone and spirit. It is a country of paradoxes, yet each contradiction blends seamlessly into a whole. To travel through Turkey is not merely to visit a place. It is to encounter a story, to walk through the pages of history, to witness the dialogue between nature and humanity, and to understand that wonder is not a single moment, but an enduring presence that stays with you long after the journey ends. As the sun sets over Turkey, its landscapes and cities glow with the stories of thousands of years. You have walked ancient streets, floated above surreal valleys, touched the waters of healing springs, and gazed across mountains and seas that have witnessed empires.